Hi, this is Stephen Sadler, and I just wanted to take a minute to tell you a little bit about this course I've created called The Lost Teachings of Jesus. It's really a course about God, Christ, and Christianity. It's really telling the whole story, going back to the earliest eons of time, to the very earliest time that the word God was ever written down or impressions were made. I want to take you back to the Sumerian culture and to the Harappan culture on the Indus Valley civilization, and over into Egypt too, where the three main civilizations were developing, and the idea of God was first being articulated and assimilated by people, and how it evolved from the time of Abraham all the way down through Moses, and then going into what teed up the coming of the Messiah. We're going to go in the next class and talk about early apocalyptic Judaism. We're going to go into the Dead Sea Scrolls and who were the Essenes. People have heard about Essenes, or they've heard about the Dead Sea Scrolls, or the Apocrypha, or Pseudegraphia, and all these other kind of arcane teachings or lost teachings. I'm going to give you a thumbnail sketch of it. I'm going to take you right back and kind of give you the gems and bring you up to speed real quick. And then we're going to go into the Merkabah and into the Kabbalah, the teachings of the Sephirah, the Benar, and the Zohar. What is the Kabbalah, and how is it relevant to Christ's teachings? Until you've studied esoteric Judaism, until you look at what conditions were created at the time Christ was born, you don't really understand the message as clear as if you'd studied this stuff. So let me fill you in on what was happening in the first century. And then we're going to go into the earliest records of Jewish history. We're going to go into what were the lives of the Nazarenes and the people that lived in Galilee. We've got a book called the Peshitta. It's the Aramaic Gospel, and it's tagged to the early 2nd century, presumably even earlier, but in terms of physical records are created. And there are people that still speak Aramaic, the native tongue of Jesus, that have brought down this tradition and their understanding of Christ and the role that he played. And they were all looking for enlightenment through Jesus, finding God within themselves. So it's really exciting. And we're also going to look at some of the Desert Fathers' accounts of these earliest Jewish Christians. The next section we're going to go into is to the apostles themselves. We've got the Gospel of Mary Magdalene and the Magdalene Papyrus. This is the oldest physical evidence of Christian teaching ever found, dating back to maybe 50-52 AD. It's the Gospel of Mary, and very few people even know it's in the Gospel of Mary. There are multiple churches reading from the Gospel of Mary. There were female bishops giving baptisms until the 3rd century, when the Roman Church decided they weren't going to do that anymore. But I'd like to tell the story of what was going on back then. What's in the Gospel of Mary? What's in the Gospel of Thomas? What are these secret or inner teachings? God's leading us through Christ's Word into a realization of his eternal presence right here on earth. And yet most Christians don't even know that. So let me take you back and show you what these earliest Gospels say and what they mean, and how this information can be applied into your life. And then we're going to look at something called Gnosticism, which is a broad category. It brings a lot of confusion in people's minds. But I'm going to kind of distinguish for you what's a Jewish Christian and what are these other sects of Gnosticism that developed later. And finally, we're going to go into the story of Paul and the pagan world that started adopting Christianity, and how Christianity evolved differently in the pagan lands, in the Greco-Roman world, with the Greek culture and the Roman culture adapting Christianity. It started taking on, as it did in every culture, a slightly different tainting, a slightly different perspective, because it was being perceived by people that had other paradigms and understanding. So it's a fascinating story. I mean, you can use it all this information will be good. And it concludes, as it begins, with the understanding that we live in a unique time in human history. People are beginning to realize the true nature of themselves, and that there's a purpose to fulfill in life, and that we are coming together to create a better world, to create the kingdom of heaven on earth. And if you're listening to this, it's because some part of you knew that, and you've been led to listen to this. So we do a free introductory call periodically, and I hold this course It's a 7-week course with usually a free intro call every month or so. So leave your email, call our office, get as much information off the website as you can, and join us for the next call and learn what all this is about. This is changing the world. This is a second Reformation. We're reforming our view of Christianity, of what Christ taught in the first century, and you're going to be amongst the first to know. And it will deepen your faith. It will bring you closer to God. You won't regret it. I can't wait to share it with you.